This work investigates how virtual reality can be designed to support creative musical practice. We developed a VR system, VR Rehearse Perform, based on feedback from musicians and performance science experts. Our iterative evaluation with 19 musicians suggests that VR has the potential to assist different aspects of musical practice. Our research provides insights for designing musician-centered VR experiences for activities such as rehearsing, performing, and improvisation. Musicians rarely have the ability to rehearse in the spaces they perform in, even though the space itself shapes and changes the music being played. Access to performing venues is limited in time and often comes with a prohibitive financial cost. The COVID-19 pandemic brought challenges that further affected and transformed the creative practices of musicians. What if virtual reality, with its ability to transport users to myriads of worlds, can be used to address these challenges experienced by musicians? Performing arts have been one of the application areas of VR in the past years. However, research in this area is often focused on the experience of audiences rather than on the performers themselves. We set out to explore if and how immersive technologies can support creative musical practice. To understand music makers' needs, we took a musician-centered approach where we involved musicians and performance scientists in a series of activities. Based on these activities, we formulated 6 core design requirements that need to be considered when building immersive solutions for musical practice. Musicians need natural user interactions to switch seamlessly between their instruments and the interface. Musicians value substantially the possibility of experiencing the accurate acoustics of the environment. Switching between different atmospheres of the space can lead to different performance mindsets. Diverse acoustic parameters can function as creative prompts, therefore musicians should be enabled to customize the sonic worlds they are immersed in. Virtual spaces for musicians should feel psychologically safe while functioning as creative triggers. We used these design requirements to iteratively build VR Rehearse Perform, a prototype VR system developed in Unity using the 3D-TI toolkit for audio specialization and 3D reverberation. The final version of the system consists of 3 environments: a realistic 3D representation of a famous concert hall, a 360-degree video of an orchard, and a 3D flat with magical plants. Audio options include approximate acoustics emulating a small, medium, and big auditorium, the concert hall's accurate acoustics based on the captured room impulse response, background sounds of crowd noises, nature sounds, as well as ambient music. A library of pre-recorded performances is also available for musicians to improvise with. Users of VR Rehearse Perform can choose and customize the visual and acoustic features of the environments they are performing in. Based on 3 rounds of evaluations with 19 musicians, the following themes emerge as salient for the broadest range of participants and useful for guiding further research and practice. Presence as an antecedent of flow. Virtual iconic venues enable music makers to experience stronger feelings of magnetic pull than casual settings, like the orchard or the flat. This induced the right creative mindset and unleashed musical performances that go beyond the everyday. In addition, being in the virtual environments facilitated the act of performing and improvisation and correlated with various flow dimensions. The sound of being here and there. Music makers found the acoustic experience realistic. Real-time microphone latency impacted the experience of musicians in different ways, and some participants used various coping mechanisms to adjust to it. The blended acoustics of the headset's audio system were perceived as valuable by some, while other musicians preferred the more targeted sound of the headphones. Relationship with the instrument. The absence of instruments from the VR simulation impacted musicians differently depending on the instrument they were playing. Key-based musicians experienced significant challenges. String instrument players needed more time to adjust, but once this was achieved, the practice was seen as beneficial. Percussionists felt empowered to experiment more with their instruments, while singers reported a lack of embodiment. Facilitating creative musical practice. Throughout our study, we observed that exposure to a variety of words in VR helps performers shape their sounds and enter the mindset for performance in a particular venue setting. The visual and environmental variety was positively associated by musicians with feelings of creativity. Despite its limitations related to the latency perceived by some musicians, the absence of the instrument from the virtual space, and the impossibility to play with someone else at the same time, VR Rehearse and Perform indicates the substantial potential of VR to radically transform existing paradigms of musical practice, composition, and performance.